Hey, what's up everyone? This is Silver Slayer. $100 silver is by far the most controversial topic we can talk about. And you guys know I love controversy. I love digging into things that bring a good debate. And I like looking at both sides of the coin, pun intended, because it really does open our eyes, allows us to become more aware and less closed-minded, right? When we're looking at something to this large of a scale, we really have to look at both sides. And I love that. And I especially love that I have a YouTube channel where I can use my comment section as a platform for people to show both sides of it as well. Some people in the silver stacking world are very minimal about $100 silver. If you say that word, they're going to call you a silver pumper. And then there's other people who are the exact opposite that say, of course, silver is going to hit $100. It's just a matter of when and why, not if. Just like this article right here. Now, there is a lot. This is a very deep topic and discussion because there's more to it, right? Because if silver does hit $100, I found another article, how would this affect or impact the coin market, right? There's more than just one type of silver. So I love this video for several different reasons. I get to share my input, my insight, my experience. You guys get to share yours, and we get to hear it from Kitco. There's actually a video that's attached to this, and the video it gives a brief summary, but they make some extremely relevant and impactful statements that we're going to break down. So make sure you smash that like button. More importantly, make sure you're subscribed. You got to be subscribed. I'm doing tons of giveaways. I'm doing like 5 giveaways in the next couple of months. So if you want a chance to win some nice silver, make sure you smash that subscribe button. Now, $100 silver. When and why we will see it. I love how they talk about relativity. I love how they bring realism into their argument, into their debate. Now, assuming a $4,000 gold price target in the next 2-3 years' time, which is roughly a 100% increase from current levels, and assuming a normalization of the gold to silver ratio 40-1, then silver should be trading at $100 by the time gold doubles in value. Now, you would say 100% increase? That's crazy. Not really. Silver had a 162% increase last year in a couple of months. It went from $11 to nearly $30. From March to August, it went from 11 to 30. So that's not that crazy, and especially since we're living in crazy times, it really wouldn't be surprising at all. It's almost to be expected with something like precious metals. Look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin's $40,000. I remember buying Bitcoin at $1,800. Now it's $40,000. Gold, silver, and Bitcoin are in the exact same category of going against the grain from the dollar. And in times like this, people revert to those safer haven going against the grain types of investments because they are in complete control of their wealth. So I like how they talk about the ratio, the gold to silver ratio as well. Because as it's sitting around, like 70-1 right now, it's still pretty high. And it has gone a lot lower. Think about it. Not even 10 years ago, silver was $50. A lot of people forget about that. Not even 10 years ago, silver was $50. So if I said $50 silver right now, people would say, wow, you're pumping silver. But not even a decade ago, it was. It's just we forget. A lot of people weren't stacking 10 years ago to have been a part of that. They've only been stacking since silver was $25. So to say a high number like that, it's double what they're used to, what they're desensitized to, sounds outrageous, but it's really not. So the last time we had that run in silver was in 2011. We'll look at something similar. So at the time, it got to about 33-1. So if we $4,000 gold and use it as a ratio to 40-1, that says $100 silver. Is that out of the question? I don't think so. I actually forecasted that price back in 2003 when silver was under $5. So I think we'll see that. I'm not saying next year, but we will see that. And that's exactly what I try to get across in my videos. We're not going to see $100 silver tomorrow, not next week, not next month, not next year. Some people are going to say next year. Citibank actually said this year, Bank of America said this year, $50 to $100 silver in 2021. I remember the article like I read it yesterday. Banks were talking about $100 silver. I think that's very dangerous because that's an extreme pull, and I'll explain why. And not only I'll explain why it's dangerous as well. It's an extreme pull for this reason. If silver does get to $100 this year, it would not last long at all. That's way too fast. Just like Bitcoin back in 2017 or 2018 when Bitcoin skyrocketed to $18,000 within a couple of months, it crashed. That was way too fast. It went into overbought territory. It was way overbought. There was no stability, no acceleration, no time for a foundation to get built, and it crashed. You don't want it to look like a skyscraper. You want it to look like a gradual building mountain. Same thing with silver. If silver went from $24.82 to $100 in the next 5-6 months, it would not stay there. So yes, it could happen, but precious metals is a much slower market than cryptocurrency. You have to remember what you're investing into as well and how the markets work. Much slower investment. But we do see nowadays, since that speculation word gets thrown in the mix, that it can skyrocket. $11 to $30 in a couple of months, that's not normal for silver. So, if we do see $50 silver this year, which I think is actually possible, $50 silver is definitely possible. If you look back in 1980, 2011, when silver was $50, it looks a lot like, almost exactly like what's happening today. Recession/depression, billion-dollar stimulus got thrown out back then, led to $50 silver. Nowadays, recession/depression, trillion-dollar stimulus multiple times, the CARES Act, second one, third one, maybe even a fourth, vaccine, which is pushing a lot of money in, and a global pandemic, right, and a silver shortage. So if back then that got silver to $50, imagine what it could do in today's time, where the stakes are much higher, the dollar is much weaker, there's a global pandemic on our hands, and there's a massively high demand in silver as we go into solar panels with the green energy revolution. Just think about it. It's almost too obvious to answer. I mean, it's not even a question of if. What was in place in 2011 was that second quarter or QE2 was announced. Now, Morgan said when in place, people thought that inflation was going to come, right? Quantitative easing. But that's not what happened. And that's why silver went to that peak and went back down and really went nowhere except down for ensuing several years. Silver actually performs much better than gold during inflationary markets. Gold is the best in a deflation. Silver has mixed results, but in inflation, there's nothing better than the silver market. Now, why is that? Why is that? And there's a couple words. Remember quantitative easing? Remember up here that when they said this quantitative easing was announced, people thought inflation was going to come, but that's not what happened. It's why silver went back down. Silver performs better than gold in inflation, gold in deflation. Silver is a win-win situation. It's like the best of both worlds. Gold is a monetary metal. Gold performs best in times of economic crisis because it's a safe haven. It's a monetary metal. Banks use gold as money. They don't use silver as money. They use gold as money. So if things are going, if SHTF is happening, you're going to put your money into gold. It's a very stable, secure way to do it. Silver, it's a smaller market. People don't know as much about silver. I mean, that's more of an investment. Gold is more of, they see gold as an asset. Silver is a commodity. In my opinion, I treat silver more as an asset and gold more as a commodity if you think about what they're used for. But in the mainstream eyes and in the world's eyes, it's like that. So, if the economy starts recovering, silver benefits because it's used in all these applications, these technological gadgets that we're using. Silver gets thrown around. if the economy's in bad shape, silver's still used as a safe haven. Gold and silver are both safe havens. So no matter what happens, silver wins. So this time, the money is going into Main Street. So you basically you've got a universal basic income going on. You've got a forbearance where you don't have to pay on your mortgage or your rent payment. You're getting these unemployment checks that are basically buffered up. And that's exactly what, and this article was written 2020. So they're talking about, the money that's coming in, the trillions of dollars in stimulus, but I don't think they knew the extent that things were going to come as the second wave hit, and how there's more than one stimulus that's going out with money that we don't have. So some people make more unemployment than they were working, so you're basically seeing the money come into people at this point. And now it's to a much greater degree, and even if a recession were to persist, monetary policy would have a stronger force on silver, beating the downward drag that weak industrial demand would have. So like I said, no matter which situation happens, no matter which scenario, silver is going to come out on top. Gold only if it goes one direction. Silver, not so much. Now we can get into another interesting point, and I would love to hear your input, your insight on this as well. This is something that I hope you guys have thought about, but if you didn't, then you might need to reevaluate your silver stack, depending on how you answer this question. If you think that silver is going to hit $100 soon, if there's going to be a catastrophic, apocalyptic, SHTF, doomsday scenario soon, then you should only be buying bullion. Because if you're paying the extra premium for pandas, kookaburras, these coins that are more pricey than American Eagles, then when that event happens, silver is going to be sold for its metal content, not how shiny, not how cool it looks. I mean, think about it. If you're going to be bartering or trading, you can't barter or trade, say, hey, I got a 1 ounce panda and someone else has a 1 ounce American Eagle. You're not bartering off of how fancy the coin is. You're going to be bartering for the metal content of that 1 ounce coin. 1 ounce of silver could get you X, whatever that good or service you're trading for. It's not going to be, a Chinese panda can get you this amount of blah, 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 and the American Eagle can only get you, no. It would be 1 ounce of silver. That would be the standard. That would be the denominator of the barter. But if that's only if you're a doomsday, right? The world's a zombie apocalypse, and you're walking around like the show The Walking Dead and trading goods. But if you think it's going to be a much slower pace, and if you're trying to invest in these pandas like I am as a way to protect your wealth against spot price, then you can do that as well. And I say protect against spot price because of this. Think about this. And I don't think this is going to happen, but imagine in 20 years from now, if spot price is still $25, that means, and all you have is American Eagles, that means your stack has literally appreciated $0 because American Eagles are essentially pegged to spot price. So you could stack silver for 10 years and literally not make a single penny because those coins are attached. They're pegged to spot price for the most part. Nowadays, we are starting to see a growing premium, but it's basically, those coins are sold at spot. Pandas, kookaburras, Queen's Beast series, Lunar series, those coins are not pegged to spot price. In 10, 20 years, no matter what spot price is, those coins will keep appreciating in value because there's a collector value, not just sold as the metal content, but the numismatic value as well. That's why they're called semi-numismatic coins, because they are sold for the metal content, but they're also sold for different reasons. Bullion just sold for metal content. Semi-numismatic, aka high premium silver, sold for both numismatic and the bullion. Numismatic coins has nothing to do with the metal content inside of it, only the numismatic value, the how fancy it is, how rare it is. So that's a little quick lesson, but let's jump into this. Rising bullion prices have often been a boon for the numismatic coin market. They enable precious metals investors to direct some of the profits from the sale of their bullion holdings to numismatic pieces. And that's a great way to take advantage of it, right? Think about it. Kind of like what I'm doing with Bitcoin. Quick profits with Bitcoin. Use the profits to invest or reinvest in the precious metals. Use the quick flipping strategy of high premium silver and then reinvest it into bullion or vice versa. This tends to have a substantial impact on the overall coin market because many large dealers sell both bullion and collector coins, just as many individuals have positions in both areas. Besides, stacking bullion frequently spurs buyers to become interested in coins with numismatic value from low premium to rare coins. This phenomenon has been seen many times, including during the two major bullion booms of the 20th and 21st century, 1980 and 2011. And I think 2021-22 is going to be the next one of these key dates as well. When the market for collector coins was very strong at the time, there was so much action in the bullion market. This was especially true during the more mature market of 2011 that coincided with the very successful August ANA World's Fair of Money in Chicago, held weeks before gold briefly went over $1,900. So think about that. Think about that time frame. As far as bullion is concerned, by this time, investors were buying metals for different reasons than in 1980, when they were mostly trying to get rich quick or concerned about double-digit inflation. In 2011, metals were seen as a hedge against a possible U.S. government default as a way to diversify assets. Gold was no longer mainly for bugs. See how it becomes more mainstream? I tell people gold is the mascot. Gold is what drives people into the investing world. Then they hear about this cheaper, more profitable alternative, which is silver. How did you guys get into precious metals, by the way? Let me know. I would love to know how you guys got into precious metals. Was it you saw a video on YouTube? Was it because someone that you know does? Or maybe you just were starting to invest and wanted to see your options and it was cool to have to physically hold? What sparked your interest? What got you into this? Now, here's the meat and potatoes of this article. $100 silver. But would a run up to $100 spot silver be good for the coin market? And how could we even get to that level? It's clearly one thing when silver goes from 10 to 50, as it did 2008, 2011, and quite another if it were to say hit $100 or more. Perhaps at a time when gold spot reached $3,000 or more, a level that is often predicted to be reached within a matter of as little as a year or several years by gold books. Silver usually tracks gold moves, but with a lag, right? It follows suit a couple weeks, couple months after. And however, while gold hit $1,900 in August 2011, silver reached $50 earlier that year in April, had already declined to about $40 by the time gold peaked. Recent years, even as gold prices began recovering from their lows of around $1,100 in late 2015, the price of silver has largely lagged. But they expect it to outperform this year due to rising industrial demand and investment demand and tightened supply, scarcity, the silver shortage. Silver is going to start taking on a life of its own. Think about it. Why would gold and silver's prices be so directly correlated when they're used for completely different things? Two completely different markets. So they go on to talk about, coins priced at 150 or less. It's going to affect gold spot price. It only strengthened in 2020 following another round of premium that increased the United States mint on precious metals products. And that also was how they boosted the prices. When we're looking at the reality of things, I really try to go from a minimalist perspective. I don't want to lead people on. I don't want people to think that they're about to get rich all of a sudden this year and buy a whole bunch of silver thinking that they have no time left. That kind of happened to me in the beginning, right? Because I got into some of the more SHTF silver pumping channels that really made it seem like silver is going to be way higher than it realistically was going to be in a very short amount of time. So I like how this person brings their input on $100 silver. He says, as for the possibility of $100 silver, Jeff said, if silver were to explode in price to $100 or more, it would have a huge impact on the hobby. There would probably be another numismatic gold rush similar to 1980 and 2009. Shops would have lines of people cashing in on the boom by selling everything made of precious metals. There would also be a huge market selling to the speculators who are likely causing price explosion. For metals to jump that high, there would probably be a breakdown in confidence of the US dollar, and that's obviously what's happening now. Not sure how that would affect things. And that's exactly why we're seeing this potential for silver over the next 3 to 5 years. Physical demand is key. We simply don't know what would happen if over time, perhaps suddenly in response to major economic shock or major disruption of the silver market, such as supply squeeze or a collapse in futures markets, silver prices reached as high as $100. The CEO of founder of Great Collections, he talks about it would take a lot to get to $100 silver, such as a major event of the type mentioned above, which is likely spur many people to acquire physical metal. And this was written February 20, right when this pandemic started, actually. February last year, right? So right when things started to get serious. So it's interesting to see that they're talking about a major event. I don't think they knew how big this pandemic was going to be that early on last year, but this is definitely an event that could do that. So I like the conclusion. Let's go into the conclusion. So just as there is no way to predict the future price of silver, it's also hard to predict how those spot levels would impact the non-rare side of the coin market, including how they might impact silver coin premiums. There are certain key unknown variables, and I like that. I always on my channel, if you guys watch my videos, you probably know, the unknown variable is the one we always have to incorporate and intertwine the most. That's what people always forget about. We don't have a crystal ball to see what else could happen. And that could affect the market way more than anything we think or anything we're including in a price forecast or prediction. Overall, $100 silver does not have to be detriment to the coin market and can, in fact, be beneficial to it, nor does it necessarily mean premiums would disappear. As always, the devil is in the details. And I like how it does mean premiums it doesn't always mean they'll disappear. So if you do have these expensive coins, if silver does go that high, doesn't mean that you wasted all that extra money and you could have bought more bullion. But that is also why I say make your foundation bullion. You want to build a foundation of, coins like American Eagles, low premium. I always say tell beginners, buy as much silver as you can for as cheap as possible, because you don't want to have an entire collection of expensive coins and then something like this happens where you could have, expanded your portfolio and added some more ounces to your stack. So anyways, I'd love to hear your input, your insight on this. What did you guys think about this? You thought this, if you thought this video was educational, informational, at least entertaining, make sure to smash the like button. I post daily videos every single day. Thanks for tuning in. This was Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.